Welcome back to my channel where we bring you the most scary, creepy and horrifying paranormal stories. Please subscribe to the channel and do give this video a thumbs up. Now, let's begin with today's story. It was 2:37 a.m. when I got the call. My father had been in a motorcycle accident and was rushed to the hospital. As I raced through the dark streets towards the medical center, my thoughts were a jumble of fear and worry. Had he lost control? Was he hurt badly? What if he didn't make it? These questions swirled in my head, growing louder with every turn of my car's tires. As a kid, my dad and I were extremely close. We did everything together. And even though I was now 19, our bond remained just as strong. In fact, that weekend, we were supposed to go camping and fishing, something we did at least once a month. But now, instead of casting lines into a peaceful lake, I was barreling down the highway, adrenaline pumping through my veins. When I arrived at the hospital, the parking lot seemed to be a sea of flashing red and blue lights. My heart hammered against my ribs as I jumped out of my car and raced inside. The nurse at the front desk looked at me with sympathy. "Can I help you?" she asked gently, knowing full well why I was there. "My dad," I choked out, my voice trembling. "Where is he? What happened?" She shook her head, her eyes filled with sorrow. "I'm sorry, honey, but your dad didn't make it." Her words hit me like a physical blow. No. I couldn't believe it. Just moments ago, I had been on the phone with him, laughing at one of his corny jokes. And now he was gone. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. My knees buckled and I sank into a nearby chair, the full weight of my loss crushing me. The nurse, bless her kind heart, stayed with me until my mom arrived, her hand resting comfortingly on my shoulder. The next few hours were a blur of grief and whispered condolences. My dad, my amazing, vibrant dad, was dead. When we finally went home, it was close to dawn. The house felt suffocatingly silent without his booming laughter echoing through the halls. That day was a torment of funeral arrangements and tearful goodbyes. As the sun set, casting long, eerie shadows across the cemetery, I stood at my dad's grave, the fresh mound of dirt still visible beneath the setting sun. It was then, amidst the sea of somber faces and hushed voices, that I noticed something unsettling. A single white rose lay on top of the coffin, its petals unnaturally perfect. My dad had always loved red roses, not these stark white ones. I stared at the flower, a chill crawling up my spine. Who had placed it there, and why? As the days passed, the pain of losing my dad didn't lessen. Instead, it grew, twisting in my gut, stealing my breath, haunting my sleep. I couldn't concentrate on school. Every corner I turned, every class I entered, was filled with painful memories of my dad. He had been a teacher too, and I could see him everywhere. His absence was a gaping hole in my life. One night, I was awoken from a nightmare by a soft knock at my window. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding, as I strained to listen. There it was again, a gentle rapping, as if someone were trying to get my attention. I cautiously approached the window and peered out into the darkness. Nothing. There was nothing there but the swaying trees and the faint glow of streetlights. I must have imagined it, I told myself, climbing back into bed. But the knocking persisted night after night, always at the same time, always when I was fast asleep, each tap sending shivers down my spine. Sleep became a distant luxury, replaced by dark circles under my eyes and endless cups of coffee. I was a zombie, trudging through each day on a mixture of caffeine and grief. Then came the whispers, first at the edge of my hearing, then growing clearer with each passing day. They slithered into my consciousness like poisonous snakes, coiling around my sanity. At first, it was just my name. Then they started taunting me, mocking my pain. They told me horrible things about my dad, things I didn't want to hear, couldn't bear to listen to. Driven to the brink, I confided in my mom, but she only looked at me with pity and understanding. "It's all that stress, honey," she said, her voice heavy with fatigue. "You need rest. You've been pushing yourself too hard." But I knew it wasn't stress. Those whispers weren't a figment of my imagination. They were real. Determined to find an answer, I turned to the one place I hadn't yet. The place where my dad and I shared countless hours. The garage. Dad had been a tinkerer, a man who found solace in fixing old engines and tinkering with wires. His workbench had been his sanctuary, a place where broken objects were given new life. As I pushed open the garage door, a wave of nostalgia washed over me. Tools lay neatly arranged on the workbench, each one a silent witness to my father's love for his craft. But amidst the familiar clutter, there was something new, something that sent a jolt of recognition through me. Tucked away in a corner, half covered by a dusty tarp, was an old record player. It was an antique, one that Dad had picked up at an estate sale years ago. He'd always wanted to restore it, but never got around to it. And there, lying beside the record player, was a stack of vinyl records. Curiosity piqued, I pulled the records out from under the tarp. One of them caught my eye, its cover adorned with a single white rose. The image was eerily familiar. I carefully placed the record on the turntable and lowered the needle. The music that filled the garage wasn't the cheerful tunes I had expected. Instead, it was a haunting melody, filled with sorrow and loss. As the song played, I felt a presence in the garage with me. My dad's spirit, I realized, come to say goodbye. The realization brought tears to my eyes, blurring the image of the white rose on the record cover. This wasn't just a record, it was a message from my dad. Over the next few days, I pored through my dad's belongings, searching for answers, for anything that could explain the whispers, the knocks, the white rose. Then I found it, a small leather-bound journal hidden in a toolbox. Its pages were filled with my dad's neat handwriting, detailing not just his love for me, but also his fascination with the paranormal. He had been researching a local legend, the story of a woman who had died tragically, her spirit forever bound to the town. Her name was Eliza, and according to Dad's research, she had a particular fondness for white roses. Could this be the reason for the rose on my dad's grave? The rose on the record cover, the rose in my dreams. As I delved deeper into the journal, I uncovered more unsettling details. Eliza's spirit, it seemed, was restless, seeking solace, but finding none. She was trapped in a cycle of grief, unable to move on. And then I read about a ritual, a way to help spirits find peace. It involved playing their favorite music, the songs or tunes they enjoyed during their lifetime, and leaving out a white rose as a symbol of remembrance. A chill ran down my spine as I made a horrifying connection. Had my dad stumbled upon this ritual while researching Eliza's story, and had he inadvertently angered her by doing so? Was that why he died? Suddenly, the accident didn't seem so accidental. Determined to put my dad's spirit to rest, I followed the ritual outlined in his journal. I played the haunting melody from the old record player, filling the garage with its mournful notes. Then I placed a white rose on the workbench, a final farewell. And as the last notes of the song faded into the silence, I felt a profound sense of peace. It wasn't just the garage that felt lighter, but my heart, too. The whispers stopped, replaced by the sweet memory of my father's laughter. The knocking ceased, replaced by the chirping of birds. The peace I felt was shattered only by the guilt that crept into my heart. Why hadn't I done this sooner? Why had I waited so long to help my dad? But then I remembered the journal, Dad's last entry, the one he had written the day he died. Today, he had written, I finally found her. I know how to help her now. All that's left is for her to accept my help. And as I read those words, I understood. My dad had died knowing he had found a way to help Eliza, to free her from her restless state. In doing so, he had found his own peace. The white rose on his grave, the rose in my dreams. It wasn't a symbol of death, but of remembrance, a reminder of a bond that even death couldn't sever. And as the sun rose, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, I knew that my dad was at peace. Thank you for listening to this horror story. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this video, then check out more videos like these. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel.